Good afternoon, everyone. I apologize. It is now 12 p.m. Central Time, Wednesday, July the 3rd, 2019. Once again, it is 12 p.m. Wednesday, July the 3rd, 2019. I'm coming to you live from West Texas, Abilene, Texas, to be exact. Now, this is a live broadcast specifically designed for the VBC 66 app. I know people can hear the live broadcast in a lot of other locations. So however you may be listening, welcome. Thank you for tuning in. But it is for the people who use the VBC 66 app. That is the primary focus. So when I go live, I always give it a few minutes to let the people who are using the VBC 66 app get the notification, then open the app and go to the live broadcast section and tune in. So I always spend a few minutes talking about a number of other things before we get to the topic at hand. So let's do this. The week-long focus on the VBC 66 app this week is on the subject of manna. Each week I try to pick a focus and then I use the app to post additional sermons, discussions, devotionals, you name it, about whatever we are focusing on. The last couple of weeks, we've been focusing on one verse for an entire week. Each week, I picked a verse, and then we spent the whole week focusing on that. This week, I decided to make the focus on the subject of manna. I've already posted, I believe, 2 sermons in regards to Exodus chapter 16, where we really are introduced to this discussion about manna. I've challenged people to take a piece of paper, divide it in half with a line right down the middle of the page. On the left-hand side at the top, write manna. I told everyone to look up try to find 5 sources. It could be a study Bible, Bible dictionaries, encyclopedias, whatever, and just make a list of things you learn about manna. Number 1, what does the word manna mean? Number 2, what is it? Just, make a list and then write down everything you can about manna. You can also use Exodus chapter 16. And then on the other side of the page, I wanted everyone at the top to write the Word of God. And then write everything down about the Word of God that corresponds to manna. Like try to draw a correlation between what we learn about manna and how that could relate or picture to the Word of God. A lot, I've noticed on Sunday I bought a book and they drew this kind of correlation between manna and the Word of God. But it's a very common thing, but I wanted us to work on it ourselves and see it. And then I was going to work on Exodus chapter 16 and explain Exodus 16, obviously in its historical context, an actual event, but try to use it as an analogy of the Christian life. So I kind of talked about that a little bit yesterday in a live broadcast. I wasn't really happy with it, but that's there. So you can go listen to that. It's on the Spreaker app. I didn't post it on the VBC 66 app, so it's there. I posted a second live broadcast. I did post that. What should the daily Christian life look like? You living your Christian life out Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. What should the daily life of a Christian look like? To me, that's a very important question, and the reason I brought it up is I was reading another book. I'm always reading books. And this book was really emphasizing on daily, the word daily. Daily devotionals, daily prayer, daily this. That the Bible speaks of that they search the scriptures daily. Take up your cross daily. Like they were really emphasizing this. And it made me think, what should the average Christian life look like on a daily basis? What should it involve? Should it involve prayer? Should it involve Bible study? Should it involve a devotional time? And then how many Christians really don't demonstrate that on a daily basis and they don't seem too convicted or bothered by that fact? So I asked the question, didn't really receive much feedback. Not a lot of people wanted to engage the subject, but I at least threw it out there. All right. I'm not going to spend too much time with some of those announcements. The bottom line is, if you do not have the VBC 66 app and you want access to all the things we're talking about or our week-long focus and all the other issues that we're always posting about, please take a few minutes, and this will be very relevant to what we're going to be talking about today. Please go to the Apple App Store or the Google Play Store. Do a search for VBC, which stands for Victory Baptist Church, VBC and the number 66. Run it all together, no spaces, VBC 66. You'll definitely want to get the app. Even if you don't like me, there's plenty of other stuff on there that will benefit you greatly, especially one particular area. And that area of the VBC 66 app will be very relevant here in just a minute. All right. So let's do this. All right. Let's jump in and look at the topic at hand today. This morning, I woke up and I looked at my email, and there was something that had been sent to me. It was an article. Now, I do not know why the individual sent this to me. I'm assuming because they strongly disagree with my emphasis of this subject, and they don't believe it should be emphasized. The link took me to the wayoflife.org website. Wayoflife.org website. I'm very familiar with the Way of Life website. I read it all the time. Don't agree with everything on there, but I read everything from their O Timothy magazine that is put out each month. I read their Friday church notes. I've purchased material from them. We've even had some of their material in our church library. So I'm very familiar with wayoflife.org. There's lots of things about them that I strongly agree with, and there's things that I disagree with. And that tends to be the case with, everyone. That's kind of the way it works. So as soon as I clicked on the link and the article opened, I'm like, oh, okay, I know this article. This is nothing new. This is an older article. I don't have the exact date it was originally published, but I know I have seen this article floating around for a very long time. And over the years, I've had lots of people send this article to me because they somehow think that this will stop me from emphasizing this. But let me just tell everyone, there's no point in emailing me anymore. It's not going to stop me. All right? Instead of sending me a link, engage in a conversation. That will probably go a lot better. You're still not going to convince me, but, just a random link. But that's okay. That's okay. All right. At least they emailed. All right. That's better than a lot of people do. All right. So at least they did something. All right. So here we go. Here's the title. Church Fathers, a door to Rome. Now, you have to say that in a very sinister way, because clearly this article believes this is a bad thing. Church Fathers, a door to Rome. And when they say a door to Rome, what they are referencing is a door to the Roman Catholic Church. This article is going to make an argument. And this argument's going to go something like this. If you read the Church Fathers, there's a good chance you could become Catholic. If you read the Church Fathers, they're going to lead you back to the Roman Catholic Church. So it almost implies avoid the Church Fathers. Don't read the Church Fathers. Don't look. There's nothing to see here. They're all a bunch of heretics. They're all a bunch of Catholics. Ignore them. Press on. Live your Christian life without any knowledge of the Church Fathers, and you will be better off spiritually. That is kind of the art. Now, I'm adding my own little take on it, but if you read the article, that is definitely how it's going to be. That's going to be the conclusion you get. That's going to be what you're going to feel is being pushed. Now, before I start looking at this article, and it's a lengthy article, so I cannot go through all of this in this live broadcast. I will be I posted the article in the VBC, the Victory Baptist Church members live chat area. I posted it there. Didn't get a reaction, but I posted it there. I also posted it in a live chat with some of my friends from Nebraska. Didn't get a reaction there either. I can't get a reaction from anyone on this article, but I'm going to post the article on the VBC 66 app. And where do I want to post it? I'll post it in the food for thought section because, I'll tell you why I won't post it in a different section in a second, all right? So, I'll post it there so that you can read this for yourself, all right? And probably if you just do a search for wayoflifeliterature.org, you can find it. I'm assuming it's an article that was posted. I think it was posted today, but it's an old article that's been posted multiple times. Maybe he's updated it. I don't know. I didn't spend that much time trying to figure it out. So how should we look at this subject? Well, let's start with this. There is a major problem in most churches. All right? They don't perceive it to be a problem. They're not bothered by this. whenever I point this problem out, it doesn't convince Christians to go, ooh, I need to go find a church that does this different. To be honest, this is kind of like, this is something I've been talking about for a long time, but I've kind of reached the conclusion that I've kind of reached the conclusion it's kind of a dead issue, right? Like there's always a point in your Christian life where you're trying to fight for something and trying to convince people something, and you have some level of hope that you can produce change. I've given up hope, right? It's over, it's dead, it's a waste of time. And I know that it's really not an issue to try to fight about. I'm going to still say it just because I'm so passionate about it. But I have a better perception of how it really impacts other Christians who hear it. Other Christians who hear it are like, whatever, we don't care, right? They may not say it that way, but they do. And the issue is this. The problem in churches is this. There is an absolute epidemic of illiteracy when it comes to church history. People when it comes to church history, they are illiterate about it in any meaningful way. Their understanding of church history is so bad, they would fail a freshman level high school test on church history. They're lucky if they understand that Martin Luther, when we speak of church history, is not referring to Martin Luther King. It's referring to Martin Luther and the one who was instrumental in what we call the Protestant Reformation. They may know about Martin Luther. They may even know something about these 95 Theses things that he hung on a door somewhere. They may know something about that, because there has been an emphasis over the years to really emphasize the Protestant Reformation far more than it had been. So there's been some success there. But they may know something about the Council of Nicaea, probably from the Da Vinci Code more than from their local church. They may know some other events. Billy Graham, I know my church history. They may know something like D.L. Moody or Charles Spurgeon, and they know some of these people maybe just from writing or a devotional book. But if you start asking them major questions about, say, the 7 ecumenical councils, some of the writings of the church fathers, major events, the formation of the canon. When do we have kind of a completed canon? Which individuals were instrumental in the formation of the canon? We can go all day. Certain of the creeds. What was significant about the creeds? When did these creeds show up? The Didache. All right, the Didache. That's a very important writing in church history. Well, I could just throw out all kinds of topics all day. Some of the Christological heresies that were so prevalent in the early church. And who taught these? Who responded to them? So many different issues. You could talk about church history literally every day and never run out of things to speak of. But when you try to point out to how illiterate people are when it comes to church history, and then you say churches need to correct this problem by teaching church history, not just some special class on a Thursday evening where 5 people show up, but from the pulpit. They need to teach church history. And they need to teach church history, this is very critical, not in, I'm going to use church history to make us look right. In other words, and when I say use, we're going to misuse church history. We're going to misrepresent it. We're going to manipulate information simply to prove something about what we believe, to prove something about what we teach. We're not just going to go back and go, what happened in the past? And let's learn from it. And we can even challenge it. No. For example, if you're Reformed, then everything you say about the Protestant Reformation better sound like, hallelujah, the Protestant Reformation, all perfect, right? You don't say anything negative about it. If you are some independent fundamental Baptist, well, we're not Protestants, we're Baptists, and we were never part of the Protestant Reformation. We came before it, and the Protestant Reformation was filled with a bunch of heretics. You could take that approach. I tend to say, why can't we just look at the Protestant Reformation, figure out what exactly happened, right? The pros, the cons, the good, the bad, the ugly, and just study it. And why do we want to study it in an unbiased way? Because we want to know the history of the faith which we all profess